Good morning, everybody, and welcome to CruiseWorks Saturday Morning Live with me, Tim. How are you guys all doing this morning? Get my coffee going. So, this morning I thought we would talk about returns, attitude, and expectations. We did get a return, and we get a couple here and there. If you are going to sell on eBay, you're going to get a return. There's just no way around it. You need to come to it, and if you're just getting started, you need to think a little bit ahead about how you're going to deal with those returns. eBay loves us to offer free returns, but of course that costs us just a little bit. And I know when I got my first return, there was a lot of fear, a little bit of anger, maybe really easy for us. So first thing I want to talk about when it comes to returns is going to be attitude. Yours. If you're in business, returns are a part of your life. Walmart takes free returns. People buy stuff and take it back all the time. They do it to scam. They do it just because it didn't fit or whatever the item is, whatever the issue is. You're going to deal with the same thing. And of course, there are scammers, right? And we all know that all the eBay YouTubers talk about the scammers and stuff like that. And you're going to run across it eventually. I've been very lucky in the last few years that I've been doing eBay. I have not been scammed once that I know of. So I've been very lucky with that. I was very nervous about it at first, especially when I sold a big item. And the first really expensive item that I sold, I videotaped my packaging as I put it together before I shipped it. Because I thought, well, if this gets returned, then I want to make sure. What I've come to, though, even though we're not a big store, we don't sell a lot, is that for the most part, the scams aren't going to happen. They're going to be pretty rare, and it is just kind of what you've got to deal with. So I am going to tell you a little bit of a story about one mess up that I did, my first mess up, and this is where I kind of got a bit of an attitude. And fortunately, my stepson kind of stepped in and said, dude, you've got to chill or you're going to get negative feedback, because that's one of the big concerns with how you handle a return. It's okay if something goes wrong. Most people will understand. They're not going to give you negative feedback as long as you handle it right. But if you have attitude, well, then they're going to leave you negative feedback, because nobody likes a bad customer service experience. So let me tell you what happened. What happened was, in my shipping, I had 2 orders go out the same day, and somehow, brain fart, I put the one label on the wrong package and the other label on the wrong package. So everything else was right in the orders, it's just the 2 items went to the wrong people. Well, of course, neither one were pretty happy, but we had 2 very different responses. And this is the way, people are different. So the one person was a lady, the other person was a guy. The lady, she says, hey, look, she sends me a message, hey, look, you sent me the wrong item. This is what's wrong with it. You had a really nice thank you card. Thank you for that. That's great. How can we get this fixed? Okay, perfect. I'm good. She's respectful. Perfect. The other guy, not so nice. He goes, hey, dude, you sent me the wrong item, and I want the right item, and I want it for free, and I want it now. And that was the attitude of his message coming back to me. Well, that to me kind of, hey, this guy's trying to get something for free. I can't afford that. I'm a new eBay seller. I got the money for it. So I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to give him the item for free. But the other lady I was good with. Like, I don't want to charge her anything. And she was good. She says, hey, just send me the good item. I don't care about that. So I talked to him, sent him labels to send the items to each other, which was a little thing that you can do, and to at least get the items to the right people, right? But then I had to really challenge myself about how do I deal with this return as far as the refund, because I didn't really want to give this guy his money back because he had attitude, and so my attitude got in the way. My stepson said, look, you've got to just do it or you're going to get negative feedback. And we had been doing this for about 3 months at the time, so it was very new to us. And I had to think about it. I'm like, yeah, he's right. I didn't like it. I was very upset about it, really, but I did it anyway. And because I gave him the item for free, I went ahead and gave a full refund to the lady, because I just couldn't say, okay, I'm going to give the item free to the jerk and not free to the nice person. So I just couldn't do that. That's just not me. And so we ended up giving the item free. And of course, we took a total loss on the whole thing. But at the end of the day, that's part of the business, right? So if you're running close to the wire as far as money goes, you're going to be in trouble when that return hits, and it will hit. You're going to get a return. So think ahead. Make sure you've got that padding, whether you're doing the PayPal account or now we have the eBay managed listing payments where you have to have a bank account and all that. I haven't got set up on that yet. I'm a little nervous about it myself, but I'll be doing that pretty soon, I'm sure. So either way, make sure you have a little padding, and don't just say, hey, this money's free money and I'm going to go use it. If you're going to, especially if you're trying to build an eBay business. Now, if you're just selling for fun and you're selling a few items for a little extra cash, hey, still, though, you have the possibility of a return, and eBay wants you to take that return for whatever reason. And that leads us into the next part of returns, right? Because eBay will force you to take a return if it's item not as described, or there's something wrong with it. And you can say no to returns like it doesn't fit and things like that. I didn't like the color or whatever, as long as they can't prove an item is described. Personally, I've made the leap to just go ahead and take whatever returns. And I give eBay the permission to go ahead and auto-accept the returns. Because I know, at the end of the day, good customer service means taking the return and taking the loss. And you know what? You do recover it, and you will recoup it. Don't worry about it. Because the more you provide that customer service, the more likely you're going to have repeat customers. Gotta have that coffee. Sorry, I love my coffee. So that's, you really have to watch your attitude, because you can get a bit angry, and then that can make you sharpen your responses back to your customers, and they can have a bad experience, and that's when you're gonna get negative feedback. You don't want to do that. So you want to avoid the negative feedback, provide that good customer service, always be respectful. Personally, I mean, it's your choice what you do as far as returns go. I let eBay handle it. I don't get that many returns, so it's not a huge issue. Although, I did just get back a, for us, big return. It was a $30 item. And instead of doesn't fit, which is actually our most common because we do a lot of women's clothes, this one was a train. And I'll show you. So this is the train right here. Well, it's not really a train. It's a coal car for a Christmas train. And it also happens to double as the battery pack for that train. And this plugs into the engine. So it's in really good condition except for a little bit of fading right here. I'm not sure if you can see that here. I'll show you with the close-up camera right here. So you can see it's got a little bit of fading. But other than that, she's in really good shape. The description described the shading. And I did test this with the engine. But unfortunately, I sold the train engine already. So this has come back as a defective, not working. Now, I don't know if the guy just bought the wrong train, or bought the wrong thing for his train, or it really was disaffected. I can't do a good but sorry. Or it really was defective. It worked when I tested it. Now I've got to find another way to test it and deal with it. But again, this is a thing that's going to happen. $30. That means I lost quite a bit on this one because it's a heavier item. I don't remember exactly what the shipping was, but I'm pretty sure it was probably around $10. So that means I paid for the shipping out. I paid for the shipping back. So that's $20. Plus I had to give the guy back his $30. So I lost $20 on this item so far. Not going to get that back. even if I resell it, which I have to test it and make sure it's going to work before I can list it again. But that's just part of business. And I think that leads into the issue, like with something like this. I knew it worked when I shipped it. Now he says it doesn't work. My first inclination when I hear about this return is, what are you talking about? Are you trying to scam me? And so my fear is when I get it back, it's going to be broken, it's going to be the wrong item, it's going to be whatever. So, sorry, my laptop's freaking out. So that's the concern right away, right? You really have to school yourself, focus on your attitude, and know, hey, you know what? You don't know what happened. Maybe it was damage to shipping. Maybe it worked when you tested it, and sometimes, corrosion, whatever inside, maybe something went wrong. It is a used item. Who knows? Maybe they didn't know how to operate it. Who knows? I don't know. But I have to be careful that I don't let my attitude, don't lead into anger. And I've seen some of these comments by eBayers on the Facebook groups about, there's so many returns, blah, blah, blah. And what it does is it makes your customer your enemy. And you don't want your customer to be your enemy. Your customer gives you money. Never forget, your money comes from your customer. They're your friends. Make sure you think of them as your friends. Don't be angry. Don't be confrontational. Don't fight with them. Make sure they have a good experience. And then they're going to give you positive feedback. I've had positive feedback on returns because we've handled them properly. So don't look at it like, oh, they're coming against me. They're not. They're just trying to get the best purchase they can. And if it's not what they wanted, most cases, that's when you're going to get the return. Now, of course, you're going to get silly people that are going to buy something and say, you know what, I changed my mind. Or it doesn't fit or whatever. It's okay. Because you're going to make up that money in other sales. So just deal with those and make sure your attitude is right, because you've taken things back to the store too, I bet. I know I have. And although I don't do it very often, it's something we do. And, it's just part of the job. But now let's talk about expectations. Okay, the first expectation is you're going to get a return. Let's think about it. How do we do that? So you can set your rules in eBay to accept the returns like I have, and I think I can show you that. Give me just 1 second, because for some reason I'm not on that particular page. La 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 la. Where am I at? There we go. So if you go to your account settings, and let me switch you over to my desktop here. So this is my store account settings page. So if you go up here and you click account settings and you go down here to your site preferences, we'll take a look at that, and then we'll take a look at your business policies. So there's 2 different places you need to take a look at. And this is about setting the right expectation for your customer. And there's a couple of pieces that go to this. Setting this up so your customer can expect to do the return. They're going to be more likely they're going to feel safer buying from you if they know that if something goes wrong, they've got that return. And eBay's going to make you take the return if something's really wrong with it anyway. So to me, when I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, might as well do it. Like, that you could be forced to do it anyway. So, I forgot where I was going. Sorry. What was I looking at? Sorry, guys. I completely forgot where I was going with. I was going to show you guys something on this page, and I completely straight out of the thing. So, Sorry, I guess I'm in. I won't. There was something there I was going to show you, but let's go back out of that since I can't remember that, and we'll go over to business policies. So what happens when you get old? You can't remember a thing. All right. Ow. Okay. So this is your business policies right here, and one of the things, this is what you can set for your items. Returns, if you can follow my pointer here. Returns accepted. Seller 30 days. I have within 30 days. eBay likes you to do with 60 days. I don't like doing within 60 days. I think I have it on some of them, but mostly I do 30 days and not international, because international shipping is super expensive. In fact, I don't do international shipping in our store, just because I don't want to deal with it. And I know that eBay has the domestic thing where you can ship it somewhere and they'll ship it international, whatever. It's just not something I want to deal with, and I may never want to deal with that. I don't know. So I've chosen not to do that. But if you do that, then that's something you have to consider. So you set your rules here, and then whenever you do your listings, of course, you apply those rules. And that allows eBay to go ahead and accept those returns. They keep changing. This wasn't the way it was when I set it up, but this is how it is now. So that's that screen there. And I'm going to go back and show you here. This is the return here. And the amount of it. And over here in this gray bar, you're going to have the ID of the person. So we don't want to look at that. But and again, this is just the information for the return. When you get the return, you want to check the item is good, and then go ahead and let's just go back to here. Go ahead and go back to that the item is good, and then go ahead and issue the refund right away. So always do that. So you want to expect that. And part of the thing I wanted to talk about expectations too, though, is setting the right shipping times. And we're going to talk about shipping probably next week a little bit more, but that's one of the frustrations that you get when you need to set this stuff up. The reason you want to talk about it now is you want to set it up beforehand. Make sure all those pieces are put together, and your shipping time. Make sure that that you're able to meet it consistently. So eBay wants you to say same day shipping. They really do. I don't. I do 1 day shipping. But for a long time, I did 2-day shipping. And the reason was I felt if something happened and went wrong, then I don't want to break the customer's expectation. And then the other thing is about the price and the type of shipping. Again, we'll probably talk about that next week a little bit more. But, setting the right expectations by marking that you'll take the return. When they ask for the return, if they have a question or something's broken, they ask you a question, make sure you respond to that. Be respectful and keep your attitude out of the way, because it is something that takes us off sometimes, right? So, and most of the time it's really not that big of a deal, especially if you're doing women's clothes, which is very common to do. Most of that stuff's pretty light. So the shipping costs less, and it's less of a hit, and you can turn around and put it back up if the item doesn't fit or whatever. So, but make sure your descriptions are accurate, and don't be afraid to put the damage on it. Like, for instance, the train, as I showed you, it has this default in it. Don't hide it. I could easily just show you this side, and then in my listing, and then when you get it, you've got a surprise. Oh crap, what's this? So make sure you get a good picture of the damage and just note it on there and value your item accordingly. People will accept that. These things here are hard to come by for these trains, and that's, people are looking for that. Just note what the issue is with it, and they let them choose. But if you don't note it and you don't have that accurate description because you're going too fast or whatever doing your listing, or you just don't want to show it because you think you can get more money this way, then you're probably going to get a return. That's just the way it's going to work for you. So anyway, that may go back up after I test it and see what it's going to do. But that is basically returns for you. And I think, again, I'm just going to go back to this. I know I've just been kind of going over it and hailing it. But the most important thing is your attitude. So when it comes to returns, expect them. Know they're coming, because they're going to come. And don't point fingers as far as fault. The other thing is, don't blame yourself. Or, oh, I'm a terrible person because I didn't do this right or I didn't do that right. Whatever it is you're prone to do with your attitude, just know it's part of the deal. I've got a return, and I've got an opportunity to provide good customer service and get positive feedback for a return, which looks really good on you. So I always err on the side of just doing things the right way. If it costs me a little bit of money, it's okay. I was going to wrap up there, but there was one other thing I forgot to talk about, I think, when it comes to returns. Yes, indeed. So there is one of the policies that I do put in place for returns that I feel helps avoid the scammers a little bit. And I think it has quite a bit. And that is having it returned back. You can just write it off and tell them keep it. And just give them the refund and don't worry about it. It saves you the return shipping, like in the case of the train. I paid the extra dollars to get it back here. I could have said, you know what, if it's broken, don't worry about it. Unless the customer sends me a picture of it shattered, which that has happened because it shattered, something shattered in shipping. At that point, I said, okay, just toss it. Here's your refund. And the reason is, a lot of times what people will do, the biggest scam that I've heard of is they'll buy something, they'll put rocks in it and say it was broken and ship it back to you and try to keep it. Or they're trying to get the free item, right? So they're trying to say, well, it's broken or it's ripped or it's this or it's that. And then you say, well, just keep it. Because that's what eBay kind of encourages. So, and when you do that, then you provide an environment for people to be able to scam you, right? So then they can just say, hey, sight unseen. Oh, it's got a big tear down the front, blah, blah. And you're just going to say, oh, crap, there's another one. Here's the money. And they can do that over and over and over again. And they're just getting free stuff. And I just view it as encouraging them to do it. So what I do, even though it's a bit extra cost, I almost always request the item back and just take the hit on the shipping. That way, I know they're honest, because if it actually comes back, then I know, okay, there was actually an issue. They didn't want it. They wanted to return it. They're not just trying to get something for free. And to be fair, in the time that I've done that, about 50% of my return requests or refund requests never come back. Now, I don't know if it's just people that too lazy to send it back. That's on them. Or if it's people that are just trying to get something for free, and I'm just like, no, you send it back to me, I'll give you your refund. So, that's just a way to help protect yourself. And that's how I do it. I think it's reasonable to ask people to send it back. A bit of a pain, I know, because I don't like going to the post office either. Unfortunate, most of my stuff fits in my mailbox and it goes out right here, so that helps out. But so that's just one thing that you can do to kind of help stop, that, to me, creating an environment of gimme, ask for the return, pay for the return. It's a little extra money, but I think it's well spent and it's well worth it. So, and then it kind of gives you a peace of mind too. So I think that's important. Anyway, that's about it for us this morning. I hope you've enjoyed the video. You know what the YouTubers say, like, subscribe, whatever. I'm mainly doing this for fun right now, and so I hope you enjoy it. Comment below if you have something to say, questions or whatever. I'll try to catch you on the next video. Other than that, have a great day.